Samtastic here with some Guild Wars. Now, after the recent rash of updates, a couple of things have changed pretty drastically. One of them is the Dervish. If you play the game, then you already know that. But one of the difficult things for some people was finding good builds with the new skills. So I've got one that has been working really well for me, and I also want to have a moment here to talk about vanquishing with a full party of heroes. So the group that I put together started out kind of as a it's something that I found from someone else that had completed the war in Kryta, that did the assault on Lion's Arch or whatever it's called, and did that with heroes and henchmen. Now, I got to do it with straight heroes, and it worked out pretty well. So I kind of modified it a little bit and have a full party here, which I wanted to take a moment to kind of show what I do, because if you notice, I've been... I gotta be in hard mode. I have been kind of systematically going through and vanquishing all of these areas, and I haven't really changed my build much at all. This I actually did a couple of them, but a few of them I had already done before I put this build together. But here we go. I've got me, the Dervish. I've got Gwen, Master of Whispers, so essentially a mesmer, what is it, 2 necros, a ritualist, a monk, a paragon, and an elementalist. And so the skill sets that I'm using with those is essentially with Gwen, I just kind of set up a whole bunch of disruptions so that interrupts, so that it can essentially lock down casters. That's kind of the whole point of that. It's not the best mesmer build, but it works really, really well for just telling mages and monks to shut up and die. So power block is kind of a really, really strong skill for that. Sometimes though, I will switch that out just depending on how I'm feeling that day for... There we go. Psychic Instability, which basically causes knockdown. And it's got a shorter recharge than the 20 seconds. It's got a 12-second recharge. And that's pretty strong, but it doesn't lock down the skills quite as well as power block. So for some of the higher level enemies, it's just nice to be able to do power block and take those out quickly. And so here we've got Master of Whispers is a Signet of Lost Souls dealio here. Set up healing ritualist, basically. You got 12 blood magic, 9 soul reaping, 12 restoration, and here we can pop this up so you can see what the runes are. So it's +2 to blood magic, and nothing too crazy on the equipment here. +1 to soul reaping. So that's all I'm doing with that, and it's Ravenous Gaze, Blood Bond, Mend Body and Soul, Spirit Light, Signet of the Lost Souls, Protective Voice, Kaulai, Life, and Death Pact Signet, which it's nice to have some extra reses on here, especially ones that take 3 seconds to cast. Now, Xandra is basically just your standard Spirit Spammer. Signet of Spirits, Splinter Weapon, Ancestor's Rage, Spirit Siphon, Blood Song, Spirit Rift, Destruction, and Flesh of My Flesh. Again, another good res skill. So we got 4 Restoration, 14 Channeling, and 14 Spawning, and that's +2 to Channeling, +2 to Spawning, and +1 to Restoration. And just basic EQ for the weapons there. Kieran, the only reason I put Kieran in here actually is because I'm a romantic and I thought he belonged with Gwen, and he's actually been pretty helpful with the group. Sometimes he survives and nobody else does, so here I left him with a bow just because he's got Kieran's bow, and I actually haven't put anything on that yet. I keep forgetting to. I can actually do that in a moment here because I've got stuff in my chest. Savage Shot, Crossfire, and Hunter's Shot, which are just decent bow attacks. Interrupt, Unblockable, and Bleeding, which I love the conditions, as you'll see when I go over my own skills here. Anthem of Flame is nice. Angelic Bond is a pretty strong skill. and Ballad of Restoration, Signet of Synergy, and Leader's Comfort. Now my other favorite elite for Paragons is the, I like to use Cautery Signet along with Rimini Signet, so you just pop Cautery Signet and immediately remove burning from yourself. It kind of works out well. It's nice because if you're playing Paragon, Cautery Signet is the first Paragon skill that you can capture. Dunkoro is running here, well I guess, yeah, I have no modifications on his skills. I don't even have any runes. I should probably stick something on there. I'll make sure I do that the next time a Ranger one pops up, or I'll try to remember. So we got, Healing Prayers 11, Smiting Prayers, that's just a relic of something. So +2 to Protection, +1 to Smiting, +1 to Divine Favor, and I'm probably going to end up swapping that out with, or the Smiting with Healing, because that would make sense now, wouldn't it? So Word of Healing, Healing Ribbon, Heaven's Delight, Patient Spirit, Guardian, Dismiss Condition, Cure Hex, and Rebirth on him. And I like Rebirth as a res because it teleports characters to you. It makes it really easy if half of your party gets taken out to just flag your heroes effectively and pull your dead party members out of the zone of combat. Elias is, excuse me, Elias is just a straight up MM, and oh man, Death Magic 16, so we got Death Magic +4 on here, and Curses +1, and Soul Reaping +1 to get 16, 10, and 10. And Aura of the Lich is so strong, and in conjunction with Masochism, he can actually get his Death Magic sitting at 19, which can get you bone minions up to, I actually don't know if it drops it down or not, but with just Masochism, Aura of the Lich will pop up level 20 bone minions, but I think you might be able to get level 21. Animate Bone Fiend, that'll get you level 21 Bone Fiends when your Death Magic's at 19. It's sweet! Blood of the Master, Putrid Bile, Mark of Pain, Deathly Swarm, and Signet of Lost Souls for energy management there. Now, Vec, I was just kind of experimenting with this. He's basically just a support Earth Mage, as you can see, 16, so +4 to Earth Magic. So Earth Magic and Energy Storage all here. And I went with Energy Boon, which seems to work pretty well because I've never noticed him running out of energy. Of course, I also don't watch him. Sliver Armor, which actually, yes, that is Sliver Armor. If you notice, it's S-L-I-V-E-R, not Silver Armor. I got it wrong for a long time. Almost everyone I know gets that wrong, so it is Sliver Armor. Stoneflesh Aura, Eruption, which is good because that throws on blindness as well. Ward against elements, Ward of Weakness, Earth Attunement, and Glyph of Elemental Power, just so we can get that extra boost on these skills here, which I love that glyph. And so here we go. On me, I guess, yes, I've got him with a Guardian Branch of Memory, which just looks kind of neat, and I threw the Bison Cup on him just because I had it, and I wasn't using it for anyone else. And I think Elias is using a green there. And Gold Bone Charm, Dunkoro, Standard Gear, wow, that needs to be replaced. And so that's that. I am using an Ebon Oppressor Scythe of Scythe Mastery. Just I've basically like gone through a number of different scythes, gold scythes, where I just pull the stuff off of them and stick them on another one. That's why I got the Scythe Mastery +1 at 16%, and I just I've never bothered to change that up at all. It's a good scythe. Earth damage, I like the elemental damage. It's good stuff. It's really strong against some enemies that would otherwise be able to deal with it. And I don't know why I've got that on there. So I got Mysticism +2, Wind Prayers +1. I got my Superior Vigor rune. I've actually never bought one of those, but I found, I think, 4 so far. And Scythe Mastery +1. So we've got Scythe Mastery at 12, Wind Prayers at 11, and Mysticism at 12. Mysticism is so strong now. It was nice before. I really think it's even better now. It makes it so easy to tank as a dervish. Reduces cost of your enchantments, and gives you +1 armor per rank of mysticism while you are enchanted. So essentially I'm always getting +12 armor because this build always has me enchanted. It is based around Onslaught, which is an incredibly powerful skill. It's so good. It makes you move, attack, and gain adrenaline 25% faster, and I followed that up with my only non-adrenal skill here, attack skill, Zealous Sweep, because it gives you energy and adrenaline, and makes it really easy to manage the energy on it, especially since these cost even less, because it's what, 4% times 12, that's what, 48% less. So these are what, 5 and 5, yeah, all of the enchantments cost 5 energy, and so it's really easy if you're up against a few enemies to get all that energy right back with Zealous Sweep. Aura Slicer is really good. Bleeding and cracked armor if you're enchanted, which you always are, because you should always keep on Onslaught. 10-second recharge with a 12-second lasting time on there, duration. Crippling Victory, Twin Moon Sweep, Balthazar's Rage, Attacker's Insight, and Pain Inverter. Now, the whole thing about this build is that it just lays on the conditions and does a pretty substantial amount of damage at the same time. It's a really strong build. So Aura Slicer gets you bleeding and cracked armor, Crippling Victory gives you, well, cripple, and Twin Moon Sweep is used essentially to help manage your health, dish out some more, like get some higher DPS, and to remove these enchantments to get their end effects. So Balthazar's Rage, when you throw that down, sets your enemies on fire, and then when it ends you gain some adrenaline back, which lets you basically run back into these skills again. And Attacker's Insight is really, really good if you're getting mobbed by a bunch of enemies and they're slamming down on you pretty hard, because it's flash enchantments now, it's instantaneous, you immediately get blocked, and 50% block, and then removal causes weakness, which is really good. It's I think a really underestimated condition, because it's, let me check the stats on that so that I can give appropriate information. It will, okay, you deal 66% less damage with attacks, and your attributes are reduced by 1, which can really kind of wear on casters a bit to have the attributes dropped, and it is really, 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 really strong against a bunch of melee. So if you've got a whole bunch of melee mobbed on you, you can throw on Attacker's Insight, and you take less damage from that, and then when it ends, you take less damage because they deal less damage, or you can just use Twin Moon Sweep to gain back some of your health and immediately throw that weakness down on them. Really good stuff. Now, Pain Inverter, I think, is one of the most overpowered skills in the game presently. It kind of lets you break that damage cap. Some of the bosses and things that would otherwise be really difficult if they have a really strong AoE, like a lot of the fire gens and stuff that you'll come up against, that will basically cause them to kill themselves, especially having that Minion Master and the Spirit Spammer in there, because they hit all of those enemies with that, if they're doing more than 80 damage, then it's immediately hitting 80 damage back all over the place. And there we go, I got a phone call. Yes, so Pain Inverter is really, 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 really strong. It's also good in some situations. Some of the more obnoxious enemies that I've gone up against are the Cornin. There's some, I forgot exactly what they're called, but the archers that use Whirling Defense. Once they throw down that Whirling Defense, with the Minion Master on them, you get all of that. Basically the Bone Fiends are doing a bunch of ranged attacks, which cause the Whirling Defense to dish out damage to the surrounding foes, which you should have a bunch of Bone Horrors right on top of them, and so that damage just basically gets turned right around on them and will annihilate them in seconds. It's good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and head outside here to, there was something I was going to do at my Zoom chest, but I don't remember what it was, so I guess I'll find out when I finish the video. So, well, let me take a look. There was something. I know there's my other Rune of Superior Vigor that I have on hand. Oh, inscription things. That was what I was using previously. Let's see, for Kieran. What do I have? I have a lot of fun stuff in here. Staff wrapping, spear grip. Oh, I love using candy cane bones to pull enemies. Oh, right now I'm actually using Kieran's bow. You know what? I'm not sure why you end up with 2 of those, because they give you one to do the Hearts of the North quests, and then Kieran comes with one as well, but they look different, as you notice. Here, let's see. I'm going to actually compare them side by side here, because that's kind of bizarre. Kieran. Yep, they look totally different. And I don't know why... Well, that one's actually got... You know, I think that one looks kind of silly comparatively. This one looks really awesome. I like it, so... Maybe I'll see if I can re-customize it and get that 20%. No clue. So, anyway, here, I kind of blended on that. That's a cool looking shield. Alright, and before I completely forget, Bow Grip of Enchanting. Do we have any enchantments on you anyway? No, no enchantments, so that would be kind of silly. And I do have actually some bows that I was going to strip apart for another character that is in pre-searing currently. More enchanting. See, some of that would be alright, but I don't really feel like cutting those apart. Right now, while I'm recording, where are all my inscriptions? They seem to be AWOL. I guess I got rid of all my inscription. Oh, there's one. Energy plus 5, inscribable spellcasting weapons. Nope. Alright, so I'm kind of SOL on that front until I feel like really taking some time to get that going. So outside we go in any case, and I can kind of show you the way that I run this build, because it's pretty straightforward, but you know, it sometimes helps to actually see it in action. At least for me it does, in any case. So, alright, there we are. I'm going to go ahead and pop out my mini pet for no apparent reason. Yeah, I forgot that Fraps totally freaks out when you go out outside without, or while you're recording, if you change zones. So I wasn't in hard mode anyway, so I guess it worked for the best. And the first thing I want to do is take out this Griffin, because I hate them. And they will heal. And there's not really anything to use Pain Inverter on. So you run in with Onslaught and immediately use that skill, and then you throw out Balthazar's Rage and basically work your way up to the Twin Sweep. And you can kind of, the skills recharge so quickly, you can just kind of cycle that indefinitely. Or say, like in this case, I'm going to go ahead and immediately chain those two, and then it's fairly straightforward. You just want to make sure that you try to keep Onslaught up all the time and you don't accidentally remove it with Twin Moon Sweep. So you always want to cast one of these skills before using Twin Moon Sweep. That way you can leave on Onslaught, or if Onslaught's about to wear off, then you know, having a couple seconds of not having it active isn't going to ruin your day. Vavian Scout. I forgot if I get Sunspear. Yeah, I've already maxed my Sunspear title, so I don't gain any benefit from that. So we'll do that again. And yeah, I was taking a little too much damage there. So the flash enchantments are brutal. They're so good. And I like to try to get myself as close to as many enemies as I possibly can, just so that these area of effect skills that I have will do the most damage. And yeah, so in a nutshell, that's kind of it. If you come up against Elementalists and things, it's usually a good idea to drop Pain Inverter on them. Just make sure that if the monk has any hex removal, that you use Pain Inverter either like right before you anticipate the mage is going to use an AoE spell, or yeah, after the monk uses its hex removal, so that it doesn't immediately get pulled off. It's only 8 seconds, but sometimes that's all you need. And there's those giant elemental things, those big like beast creature things that are huge. Those will cast Sandstorm on you, and if you can get Pain Inverter on them right before they cast Sandstorm on your party, they will kill themselves. And Pain Inverter works like that with a lot of Elementalist enemies, so it's good stuff. And I think, no, I think somewhere over here in this region there's one of those, like, don't touch places or something. It might be, oh, I think it's up here, actually, so that wouldn't happen. And there you are. So that's a really good, strong build for doing hard mode, for vanquishing in Guild Wars with the current, I don't know what you would call it, current patches. So, there you have it. I hope you enjoy it, I hope it helps, and you will see me later.